Welcome everyone to Belle Isle in beautiful Detroit for the very first round of the Alpha Touring Challenge season number 6. Let's take a look at what the drivers have in store for them today. So the Belle Isle Grand Prix circuit, we've run it 3 times. This will be the third time. Jerome won the first outing in season 4. Then Slug won the second outing just last season. The start of a long run of races. He had won the start of that season. It's a 3.76 kilometer track. We're looking at low to mid temperatures today, hovering in the mid 20s in Celsius. Let's get down onto the track. There's about 5 minutes left in practice, so we were just going to take a look around and look at some of the new liveries being sported by these drivers this season. And it looks like got Dom Savio in his Trevor livery. I do not believe this one has changed from last year, but still great to see that one on the track. We have Micah Hendricks, a member of the newly branded Blue Flag Motorsport team, now Passholes Motorsports, and a beautiful liveries featuring all kinds of Gunther Steiner moments on the car. Beaver Buzz is back this season. We're looking at John Lauzon right now, actually, and that is not an Elantra. That is a Honda that he is driving in the now chrome silver blue Beaver Buzz machine. His teammates, looks like Francois is not on track right now, but Jerome is sporting a very nicely colored red version of the livery. Racing with us today, we also have Waj, who just pulled into the pits, sporting the classic gray Audi livery that he used to win a couple races back in season 4, I believe. One of the breakfast for dinner guys is out on track. This is Justin Rhodes, sporting their new livery for this season, and got the really pretty sunset colors. I've seen the couple other. They each have a slightly different colored variant. All of them are quite striking. And at Adrian Fedorowski of QZ Motorsport, looking at a very retro livery. It reminds me of Toyota TRD or old Apple branding. That's what that brings to mind. His teammate Michael Zepp is just up the road behind these massive trees. And yes, there you see it is part of the QZ Motorsport branding as he has the logos on his Audi. So QZ Motorsport running a Honda, running an Audi. And I'm noticing on track in general, this is no longer what you would call the Elantra Cup. Of course, John Lauzon, for instance, has moved over to the Honda. Breakfast for dinner has stayed in the Elantra. They see James Carr. Yellow Flag Motorsports, Slugnificent also still running the Elantra. And there's Yellow Flag's brand new livery. And Logan McKenzie also still in the Elantra. So there are a couple of teams that have still stuck to it, but you're starting to see diversification. And also a lot of the new members of the field today have... Oh, a huge hit to the wall there by the Slug to wrap up his practice. And that timing up on the top left. Okay, it looks like practice is ending, so we are about to jump to qualifying. 15 minutes. Temps are most likely going to go up here as we shift a bit later into the afternoon. And the first cars are coming out of pit road, so we're going to get down there and take a look at his map. Zepka on track first as he goes down the long straight. begins to get those tires warmed up. This is a very difficult track to nail down a quali lap on. You have to extract every last inch of pavement that you have available to you. And if you extract a little too much, there's a wall. That's a 0x contact, lap invalidated. And we're going to see a lot of that, not just in qualifying, but I suspect in the race as well. Most cars now emerging from pit road to form a longer row of cars going around the track. They're setting their gaps, making sure they have enough room to the car ahead. Looking at Connor Acatella there, a new member of Yellow Flag Motorsports, and he, unlike his two teammates, is sticking with the Veloster for this season. He ran it last season when he was an independent as well. Francois Schink has also moved cars. His Beaver Buzz teammate John Lauzon went from the Elantra to the Honda. Francois has gone from the Elantra to its Hyundai brother in the Veloster. And we have seen Francois drive the Veloster before to mixed success. There were some high points and some lower points in pace, but overall it is something that he has been able to make work for him in the past. These cars are now coming around to start their very first quali laps. Alright, so the very first laps in qualifying are being turned. See David Bauer there going purple in the second and third sectors, as well as the final sector. Lots of green sectors going on here at the moment. We're not going to get the standings, as they are, with this being a play file, displaying the final result. We're going to hold those to the end. You do have live times along the bottom of the screen. We have the track map, and we're looking at Waj in the number 80 car right now. Just behind him, I believe that is Francois. Both of them on a flyer down this backstretch. Now, you may be wondering how much, as you see Francois abandons the lap there, how much does the slipstream actually work on this backstretch? And it's not that much. It may be a tenth at most, and it's one of the things that makes it very difficult to properly pass here. This might be one of the most difficult tracks to pull off an overtake at on the entire calendar, and it has been since its introduction in Season 4. Let's find us a driver that we can go on board with. We'll go on board with Francois here, actually. We know he's about to go on to a hot lap. So this is going aboard a lap of Belle Isle. First, turn 1. You hug the inside apex. Then a nice, gentle turn into turn number 2. Easy on the throttle as you are prone to understeer as you go over that crest. Down the mid-straight. You're going to brake just past that 400 board. Cut over as much curb as you can without bottoming out the car. We're going to maintain as much momentum as we can here through turn number 4. Then turn number 5, we're going to swing out and cut in onto that curb. It's okay if we touch it a little. Carrying down speed down this is not too important. We're going to brake, come over the crest as close to that inside wall as possible. This is where the margins really count. It's okay if we get a slow entry as long as we get a fast exit onto the straight. A lot of time to be gained there. Coming around here, we're going to swing out as you see Francois is doing. Brake in between the 400 and 300 and then cut over this curb. And now for the sort of triple right left-hander here, you just got to keep it tight. Make sure you don't swing out into the dirty stuff and understeer. You're going to set yourself up for this corner here. Use the momentum. Try to not touch that inside curb. It kind of hops the car, unsettles it, and you lose momentum coming onto this straight. The last 2 corners, brake at 200. Hug that inside curb. Then use as much momentum as possible. Get on the inside. There's a little bit of banking in the inside curb there in the final corner. Bring it out to the wall. flat out down to the start finish line. He's going to wrap up Francois' lap at a 1:39.8. Turns in. Halfway through qualifying, looking at August Blondal, another member of Hashold Motorsport. He is driving the Veloster today. I believe he was also driving the Elantra last season. So, not only are we not seeing as many drivers driving the Elantra, we're also seeing a diversification of where those drivers are fleeing to. I do see the more experienced drivers making the jump from the Elantra to the Veloster, whereas more of the newcomers are taking to the Honda. It's an interesting split. Speaking of newcomers, or relative newcomers, here is Kurt Smith. He has run enough races in the Alpha Touring Challenge before, so that he is not classified as a rookie. There at the top of the screen, you see Jerome Gulaz stopping on track. Looked like he had to use the escape road there. But Kurt Smith has run a few races with us. I believe it may have been back in Season 3. But it looks like he has returned, and he comes with a full team, not Last Motorsports. That is a team that also consists of John Lynch, who is currently not here today. He will start at Laguna Seca. And then Mark Crawford, who is... Let's see if Mark is on track right. Does not look like he is. Another returning face, Mark Darnell. Raced with us back in Seasons 1 and 2. Long-standing member, and has returned after hiatus. Back for Season 6. Very exciting to have him on track as well. Micah Hendricks coming around turn number 6 onto the back straight. Hendricks has had a decent pace all week in practice. His goal is definitely going to be a podium today. I think he has the pace for it. It's going to come down to where does Waj end up? Where does Logan McKenzie end up? McKenzie's been fairly fast in practice this. You have wild cards like Matt Sepka and James Carr. Both of them have shown flashes of pace in practice this week. The Carr recently setting some very fast laps during practice. Micah does have a purple sector on this lap. Oh, but he's going to contact the wall, and that should invalidate that lap. Let's see what that time would have been. It would have been... that's a personal best, at least. Davidovich also has just done a personal best. 10 minutes left in qualifying now. Let's talk about where the breakfast for dinner guys are. Let's look at Justin Rhodes in the number 84, coming down the mid-stretch here. Justin is in the Delta Championship this season. He was not last season. Just involved in a couple of unlucky accidents last season. He's now able to fight for both the Alpha and Delta Championships. But it's very interesting. Breakfast for dinner, all three of those guys, they have a lot of raw pace. All of them are very capable of setting fast times and winning a race on any given day. But they also just seem to be subject to the worst of luck when it comes to instance, whether it's of their own doing or not. Hopefully this season goes much better for them than last. Another member of Breakfast for Dinner that's out on track right now would be James Carr himself, the top member of the team last season. I believe he finished 4th in the overall championship standings. It was either 3rd or 4th. But he had a late run, strong run at the end of the season that secured him a much higher standing over a couple people in those last couple of races. Waj just done a 1:37.89. That puts him on pole position. Not sure that anybody is going to be able to beat that time. Another returning face today. Oh, we've caught him at a bad time. He's in the escape rope. That is Spencer Cockayne. He ran... he's run quite a few races with us and just wasn't able to do a whole lot of last season. So it's great to see him back. Similar story with Daniel Sedano. It's nice to see him back in a full-time capacity. See, Alex Kotlowski is also here, running in the number 69, and he is in an Elantra. Also, I've got him down as a member of, yep, right on his rear bumper there, QZ Motorsports. So that is their third member. That's Adrian Fedorowski, Michael Zepp, who are his teammates. Just 2 minutes to go in qualifying. I'm not seeing a whole lot of improvement happening now. Checking in on Logan McKenzie, who currently has the third best time on track. And that is representative of where he has generally been in practice. It's been around the second place to fourth place range. It looks like he is letting few people by to maybe attempt one more lap. His current best is a 1:37.45. That is over 2/10 off of second place's time, which is James Carr's 1:37.20. Qualifying is over, and Waj has triumphed with a 1:37.095. James Carr just a half-tenth behind him. Then it's McKenzie and Hendricks on the second row. Schink, Zepka, Bauer, Lauzon, Rhodes, and Akatela round out that top 10. Then you have Statzer, Bajulaz. We go down the grid to Savio, Hall, Slug, all the way back in 15th. When we have Simon, August, Adrian, Smith, Roma. That's your top 20. Then further down, Ketlowski, Sedino, Lane, Cockayne, Winfeld, Darnell, Zepp, Dan, Crawford, and Curran round out your 30-car field for the race. We are currently waiting for the lights. Waj is sitting there waiting for this race to begin. And his lights out. And away we go here at Belle Isle. Waj the great start. Logan not so much. And he is under a fire from Matt Zepka. Francois also just behind. Bauer is chasing them down as well. They are side by side coming down the straight. Bauer and Francois neck and neck behind them. Then you have Lauzon just behind this pack. Logan still hanging it around the outside there. Lauzon has gone around just behind them. And Logan has made the pass back for fourth position. It is Waj, James, Micah, Logan, Zepka, Schink, and Bauer. All these drivers, that's your top 7. Go further back. Here's another battle. It's Statzer. Whoa, and Akatela getting into the wall. Statzer getting by him. Couldn't tell if that was a squeeze or just a mistake. And now he is side by side with his Yellow Flag Motorsport teammate, the Slug, and he is going to slip behind him here. And now he is under fire from Aaron Hall, who's going to hang it around the outside. And now he has Savio looking up his inside. Lots of stuff going down here at the start of this race. Waj leads from Carr, from Hendricks, from McKenzie. These are tight margins. See Schink following Zepka here, and they're losing a little bit of ground to Logan there, who is catching up to Micah. Jerome just brushed the wall. We're going to see a lot of these wall brushes, I think. Whoa, and just behind him, Slug making the move on Eric for 10th. That is 5 positions gained for Slug already from the start of this race. Remember, he sat in 15th off the line. Bauer down the back straight on the tail end of Schink, but not close enough to go for any kind of move. And further down the straight, most of these guys very much in a line now. Oh, just further back there, that is Lauzon picking his way back to the field after that spin. He currently sits in 19th position after starting in 8th. He has some work to do to recover this one. Whoa, huge hop over the curb for James there. We jumped over to that battle just in time to see him within half a second of Savidovic. Micah is running in 3rd. He is 0.6 of a second ahead of McKenzie, and that's about the same gap from McKenzie to Zepka, but Schink is holding on to him a little bit closer. Bauer trailing behind Schink. Oh, and a huge wall strike from Zepka, and this may open the door for Schink, and he may look to go on through here. I think Zepka's going to have to let him by. He lost a lot of time from that wall impact, and hopefully that did not knock his suspension out of alignment. A brutal hit. That increases the gap from them to the top 4. Meanwhile, Savio, Hall, Acatella, these guys all battling for 12th. There's more wall strikes. And that is going to allow Aaron Hall, he's going to hold the inside line here. Savio trying to go around the outside. Hall taking a narrower line there over the curb, and Savio able to go around the outside. Similar to how we saw Logan do it on Matt Zepka earlier. It seems like the outside line really works there if you're going in 2x2. You get a lot more momentum heading into the next corner. And now Bauer has made a move on Zepka, and he may lose another position to Justin here. I think he has hit the wall again, coming on to turn number 6 on this straight. He's definitely had some kind of incident. That demotes him down to the 8th position. Currently on lap 3. Of this 1 hour race, not even 5 minutes in already, all kinds of action up and down the field. And remember, it is very difficult to pass here. These are passes that require quite a bit of bravery to pull off. We look back here, Acatella taking a peek down the inside of Eric Statzer. That's the battle for 11th. Getting very close there, coming through the final corner. The very different lines they are taking through turns 1 and 2. Come out onto the stretch. You see these cars have started to string out a little. There are still plenty of cars close to each other. Looking at Zepka running behind Rhodes. He is sandwiched in between Rhodes and Bajulaz right now. And on the tail end of them is the Slug, who is still in 10th after gaining 5 positions in the first 2 laps of the race. Acatella really close to Statzer as well. He gets a good run onto this straight. He may have a chance at him. But it doesn't look like that's going to be enough momentum. And you see here how the slipstream just does nothing for him here. Doesn't help that Slug is ahead of Statzer there and probably negating any effect that the slipstream would have. Car is now very close to Waj here. Definitely capable of keeping up with the Audi driver. It's less than a half-second gap. These guys are really pushing it to the limit, especially Carr. We saw how he went completely over the curb in turn number 7 earlier. In the background lurking are Hendricks and McKenzie, and that gap has actually gotten smaller over the past lap, I believe. They're not pulling away like they were earlier. Savidovic and Carr. If they start fighting, though, Hendricks and McKenzie are well within striking distance of those two. And now something's happened to Cedino. He has race-ending damage, it looks like. He may, let's see if he uses his fast repair and gets going here. Keep you updated on that, but I believe he has struck a wall and broken the suspension. These are the closest battles. Lauzon working on August Blondal back here. They're running behind Simon, who is in 15th in the 420 car. Yeah, this is a car that we haven't seen today, I don't think. But very nice Rebel livery. Great to see him out on track in his first Alpha Touring Challenge race, as he may have brushed at the inside of that wall there. August trailing just behind him, also in a Veloster. And that is a strange sight to see. 5 cars in frame. They're all Hondas and Velosters, and single Elantra in sight. Let's check in on the battle for 11th. Acatella is really close to Eric now. See if he can maximize this as they come through the final 2 corners. And it looks like, actually, they are getting closer to Slug, who has lost some ground to the rest of the top 10. And now he is in danger here with Statzer coming up behind him. And Micah Hendricks has just set the fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.5. And McKenzie did the same lap time that Waj did. Car was almost a half-second slower than Micah. Actually, he was over a half-second slower. Those guys are closing in on the leaders now, and they aren't even necessarily fighting. Cars drop back a little bit here. He's still hanging on to the tail end of that 80 car. Same situation with McKenzie here. He doesn't seem to be quite able to close up on Hendricks, but he is staying within range. And we have a oh no, there's been a crash, and John has had to tow back to the pit lane. Yeah, I believe Kurt Smith may have been involved in that. Let's see if he has any damage to that Not Last Motorsports Honda. He does not have any visible damage. An accordion effect happened there, and John got spun around, stuck in a position where you just can't be stuck if you want to get going again. Rhodes and Bauer not keeping up with Schink here. This looks like it's about to be a very lonely race for Schink, who is currently running almost 4 seconds back from McKenzie, but 2 seconds ahead of Rhodes. Connor has now, whoa, he's gotten by Statzer. Statzer strikes the wall there. And Bajulaz is working on Zepka going into turn number 4, side by side. And Matt is going to cede that position. And he slips down into 9th. Jerome up to 8th. And that is his 4th position gained. He started in 12th. Running really well today. The former winner here doesn't seem to quite have the pace to be on for the victory today. But he is doing a good job of maximizing his race from where he started. A couple other drivers that are up today. Samuel Curran has gained 5 positions in this race. Michael Zepp is up to 4 positions gained, started 27th, now 23rd. Brian Winfeld, another newcomer, he has gained 3 positions, started in 25th, now up to 22nd. Spencer Cockane has gained 4 positions, started in 24th, now up to 20th. Of course, the Slug has gained 5 positions so far. He's starting to catch back up to this field. I believe Statzer and Acatella fighting allowed him to separate himself from those two. And now we're on to lap 8. And the top 4 have all set times within 0.2 of each other. And it is McKenzie who has actually set the fastest lap of the race. He currently holds that honor with a 1:37.482. And these times just continue to creep down for these guys. And now they're all setting the same exact times. And now something, oh no, something has happened with John. He came out of the pits and he had contact with another car. And he's used his fast repair, so that's going to be his day as he tows for the final time. Let's go on board with James Carr as he continues to chase Waj here. They're coming up on lapped traffic. I believe that might be Alex Kotlowski. And now Rhodes is oh no, something's wrong with Rhodes, and he has parked it, and he has had to tow as well. While that's happening, yes, these guys are going around the lapped car of Kotlowski. And was this going to be a moment? No, this is, he's handled that fairly well, I think. Slug and Matt fighting for position here. This is for 8th. He's working around the outside of the triple left-hander. Can he do it? Holding that outside line. I cannot believe there is grip there for the Elantra. And he is going to do it. He pulls in front of Matt and takes 8th position. Cutting back to the leaders. This time around, it was Waj setting the fastest lap, and James second fastest. Micah was the slowest of the trio, and whoa, a huge wall impact by James. Oh, and is he checking to see if his suspension was damaged? Oh no, his suspension might be damaged. It looks like he is holding that wheel a bit lopsided. Let's see. Oh, he's dropping back. He is losing a lot of time here. And he definitely has damage. He strikes the wall again. You can see that right front fender bent in a little. Oh, heavy right side damage to the car. He hits it again there and again there. Some of these might be netcode. Can't imagine he's striking the wall that much. But he has lost almost a second to Waj on this lap alone. This is looking like where Hendricks and McKenzie might have been fighting for a podium position. This now may turn into a fight for second position. Shink is 6 full seconds off of them. Let's see, because they are going to catch Carr fairly soon here. Hendricks still a second and a half back. Maybe the damage is not as bad. Maybe Carr has adjusted to it now. He's not dropping back as quickly as he was. Oh, another impact. Maybe I spoke too soon. Let's see, he is going to stay out on track. Let's just check. Oh, and we've had another crash. Daniel Cedino has crashed. It's a tow. I believe that is his race done. Let's check in on the battle for 8th. Zepka has not lost a slug here. And there's another thing to consider that may be going on in a lot of these fights is Zepka gets a lot of grass there. Lucky that he didn't clip the inside wall. He's lucky he didn't have a little spin. These cars are set for 45% fuel tanks. That gets you to about 45 minutes into this race here at Belle Isle. So the pit window is open. Anyone who pits now will be able to make it to the end of this race, theoretically, most likely. But if you fuel save and you don't lose too much time doing it, then you might be able to jump a few people in the pits with a shorter pit stop. James is really struggling with this damage. He's lost another full second to Waj on this lap. That was definitely an impact. And now, will he hold up Hendricks? How will they get by? Surely he must pit. As they come around that corner, I believe that's turn number 10. Go on board with Hendricks here. See Carr struggling to get the grip. And another impact. And he's going to pull off. And he is pitting. He'll use that fast repair. And he is inside the pit window. So he will be able to make it to the end. This isn't catastrophic, but he is no longer fighting for a podium. This is now Waj, Hendricks, and McKenzie in the top 3. Kirk Lane has just gone by Cockaigne. This is the battle for 19th. Gotten by him just before they go around the fountain. Check in on the battle for 5th. David Bauer and Jerome Bajulaz. 5th and 6th here, and Bajulaz continues his incredible rise through the field along with the Slug. Jerome has gained 6 positions since the start of this race, and Slug has gained 8. That is incredible, considering the track that we are at, that both these drivers are making so many moves like this. We probably still have about 25 minutes to go before we see a whole lot of pit stops begin. And we're starting to see the field settle in. To the back there, Matt was having a peek on Slug. Now he may have gone in a bit deep. I think he saved it. And Acatella has just kind of been sitting behind these guys the whole time. Not exactly close enough to make a move, but he hasn't lost the tail end of these guys either. Update on the leaders' times. Waj has just done a 1:37.66. McKenzie has done a 1:37.66. And Hendricks has done a 1:37.69. And now they're all coming across the line again. Waj did a 37.75. Hendricks and McKenzie both do a 37.82. So all three of these cars so close to each other in times. Unfortunately, Waj just has had quite a head start here between McKenzie's poor start and him and Carr just kind of having a faster start to the race in general. They found the pace first on the cold tires and were able to set that gap early. Carr has come out of the pits in 14th. He is currently working on Simon here in the 420 car. He's going to go deep into turn number 4 over the curb. He makes the pass. He's into 13th. His recovery drive starts now, and this is the rest of the race for him. He will not be back down pit lane, so he can put his head down, go to of the race. Depka's lost some ground to Slug now, and Acatella is only 3/10 off the back of him. Bajulaz is only 3/10 off the back of Bauer. These are all very tight battles here for 6th, for 9th, for 8th, and for 12th. The battle for 21st also close. That's Darnell and Zepp. Zepp, a member of QZ Motorsports. Darnell, I'm not sure he's currently an active member of Blue Flag, but he originally was. Blue Flag has rebranded to Haashold now, but Darnell was a member of the old team. He is still in 21st there. He's gained 5 spots since the start of the race. Same as Zepp behind him. So both of them moving up. McKenzie's now starting to hang out a bit closer to Hendrick's bumper. At the start of the race, it was a 6 to 7/10 gap. Now he's kind of consistently in that 4/10 range. And you start to wonder if he's not a bit faster than Hendricks. They're setting identical times. Waj has just gone 2/10 faster than either of them and has beaten the fastest lap that McKenzie set earlier in the race, about 6 laps ago. So Waj has finally beaten that. And for how quickly the cars were improving on their lap times, they kind of hit a wall there for a moment. 37.4 mark. Car is 4/10 of a second behind Hall. Gets a really good run off on the back stretch, and he's going to look to the right side of the Honda. This is a very tight overtaking zone. What's going to happen? Down into turn number 7, and he has got it done before he ever makes it to the corner. Keeps it off the wall despite the shallow line. He's up into 12th. Ahead of him, Savio is now starting to hang out pretty close to Eric Statzer. This is a battle to get into the top 10. And the top 10 finishes, that is one of the tiebreakers in the championship standings. The third one, or the fourth one. It goes wins, poles, top 5s, top 10s. So they are valuable to some extent. And we see an early pit stop, an undercut strategy from the Beaver Buzz driver, Jerome Bajulaz. Let's see how long he stays on pit road. That was a 13-second pit stop. Be a bit long, I'm not quite sure. James' pit stop was only 10 seconds. So either Jerome has overfueled or James has underfueled as he completely hops the curb there. Bit surprised. That is not going to be a slowdown. August has just gone around Simon for 13th position. He now leads this train of drivers. That's Simon behind him, and then Kurt Smith in 15th position. Smith has gained 4 positions since the beginning of this race. Statzer Statzer has been passed by Savio. He loses that 9th position to him. And now Hall has gone around Carr. Oh, something has happened to Carr. He's had another incident. And I believe he may have gone wide in turn 7 there. He has now lost most of the ground he made up since he came out of the pits. And yes, he is actually a position behind where he came out. So this, starting all over again for him. Zepka now creeping back up to the tail of the Slug. Slug has now gained 9 full positions since Jerome has pitted. And where has Jerome come out? So Jerome has come out in 18th position. Completely clean air. He doesn't have to worry about anybody being around him. The next car ahead, Tony Roma, is 8 seconds up the road. Now he just needs to hot lap. Here we see Kurt Smith going for a move on Simon into turn number 4, and he's got that done. That's going to put Simon at danger of being passed by James. Some of these top guys we're seeing as the gaps settle out here. For example, Hendricks and McKenzie, Slug and Zepka. There may be fuel saving going on with McKenzie and Zepka. Oh, and oh, I could tell I just blipped out for a second. I thought he might be pitting. We'll jump back to car. This is going to be a close battle on track. Overall, this is the battle for 13th, as Kurt is just ahead of them. And collectively, they're all trying to chase down August Blundall, who's running in 12th. Blundall has seen quite a sharp rise in pace, in my opinion, over the last couple of seasons. He's moved solidly into the top of the midfield in terms of that pace. I mean, the top 12 drivers in the championship end up promoted from the Delta Championship, and here he is running in 12th. So we have another driver on pit lane. That's Eric Statzer coming down pit road. He yields what was 9th position to do this. He will also come out into the clean air that Bajulaz is in, I believe. Car now ahead of Simon out onto the mid straight, and his next target is Kurt Smith, who's gotten a bit away from them, is now a full second ahead. McKenzie's now inside of 4 tenths from Hendricks. Waz has just set another fast lap, a 37.3. Kirk Lane has just gone around Eric as he comes out of the pits. Oh, and now what's going on with... Oh, I could tell just blink there. Aaron Hall set up a nice little gap for himself. As the people around him have pitted, he's found himself in some nice clean air as he runs in the 10th position. James Carr is already closed up to the tail of Kurt Smith. 26 minutes into this race. Oh, no! And Simon has clipped the wall. Oh, and I think... Tony Roma may have clipped him. One of those cars going by has clipped him. Major damage to Simon there. That was Roma that hit him. But I don't see any visual damage there, so he may have gotten away with that one. It looks like Aaron Hall has also crashed, and he has towed. A promising day ending early for him. Zepka is really close to the Slug now. He's sticking his nose to the right. Will he go for a move into turn number 4? No, he will not. Could have gone for a dive, but it would have been a bit optimistic. for sure. Micah still holding that 0.5 of a second gap over McKenzie. The leaders have started to kind of spread out here. Waj now with a 3.3 second gap on Hendricks. Schink is then 8 seconds behind McKenzie, and Bauer is 7 seconds behind Schink. The third, fourth, and fifth have a huge spread between them, and that creates a cushion to the rest of the field, which is much more tightly knit. Darnell losing positions here. Whoa, really close there as Rhodes goes by. He is back on track. Running in 22nd. They are close to going a lap down. Or no, they are halfway across the track. But they are quite towards the tail end of the field here. Rhodes having to work his way back through after his incident earlier. Just behind them, James Carr has gotten around Kurt Smith and is chasing down August Blondal. Eric Statzer has just gone around Kirk Lane for the 16th position. And Zepka's dropped back from Slug just a little bit. And actually he's lost quite a bit of time to him in the first sector of this lap. Carr now on the tail end of August. We're going to go on board with him as he chases down the Haas-Hole Motorsport driver. This is where he's going to want to get a really good exit coming up here to turn 6, the right-hander. And he maximize onto the straightaway. And it looks like August has gotten a very good exit. Very favorable exit for August. We also have another car down pit lane. It is Spencer Cockayne who has come down pit road. Looks like Sam Curran is also down pit lane. Both of them coming in for their fuel stop right at the halfway point of the race. Oh, you see Slug and Zepka going around the now lap car of Aaron Hall. Zepka just keeping up with Slug here, keeping within range. McKenzie's very close to Hendricks here, inside of 3/10. And the question is, does he go for a move? And if Hendricks is holding him up, does he pit? If McKenzie pitted, he could end up buried in a lot of traffic. So he might want to, he might be thinking that he wants to just stay up front. Tough it out behind Hendricks. Cars, oh, a big hit. We've seen that a couple times today. But Carr is very close to August here. August is defending that inside line. Will it work? Going into turn number 4, Veloster versus Elantra. And, oh, there's a car stopped on track. That was Sam Curran. And August has held the position against Carr. Oh, and now wow, I have not seen a dive like that at that corner. But August is going to come back at him. Look at that. The crossover, and he is back in front of James. What a move. And this is not going to be as easy for Carr as a couple of the other overtakes has been. Blondal has elbows out and is ready to defend what is right now 10th. So a few cars ahead have pitted. We will stay on these two for now. Looks like Michael Zepp is also coming down pit lane. We're seeing very sporadic use of pit lane. People trying a wide variety of strategies. Maybe they feel they're caught in traffic and they're coming down pit road to get out of it. Are very close to August here. He will most certainly have another run at him as they come on to the stretch. Around turn number 2, will he be close enough That's close enough for Carr to go for some kind of move. Here we go into turn number 4. August sitting in the middle of the track, making these cars wide as possible. David might try a crossover move here, or James might try a crossover move here, though. He's going to the inside of turn number 4, and he's got it. He's done the move. And I don't think August can come back at him this time. But he put up one hell of a fight for that position, and James Carr now gets to head down the back stretch in 10th position. We click over onto lap number 21 in this race. Waj running in the low 37s. Hendricks and McKenzie are currently stuck in the mid to low 37s. And that is why that gap has gone from about 3.5 seconds to 4 seconds. Waj just continues to step out on these guys. Now Blondal under a little bit of pressure from Kurt Smith, Tony Roma, and Adrian Fedorowski. These cars all forming a bit of a row here. And Michael Zepp back on track. He has come out in 20th, just ahead of Justin Rhodes. McKenzie still hanging out very close to Hendricks. These are the two closest cars on track, and they have been the entire race. The laps they've been setting have been within a 100th of each other. They've done quite a few of those. As I've been looking at the timing sheet, it's just very, very strong consistency. If we look at these times, McKenzie's are a bit hard to see, but all but one of those are within a 10th. Now Zepp and Rhodes are dueling a little bit here. Oh, I believe that might just be, yeah, Zepp connection issues. But Rhodes is getting closer and will have a chance at him. Acatella is running in 8th right now, and Savio just behind him. And Rhodes has gone around Zepp just before turn. I think he's got him in turn number 7. That's another position gain for Rhodes, who continues his recovery drive. Roma sitting behind Smith and Blondal go on board with him. We're at the 35-minute mark, and we're about to see more pit stops. Dom Savio coming down pit lane now. These cars don't have that much more fuel in them. So about 10 more minutes of running for a lot of these guys. And we're going to see both Kurt Smith and Tony Roma come down pit lane. And I think Roma may have overcooked it a little. That certainly looked like he could get hit for a speeding penalty there. He had to move to the side to avoid impacting the rear end of Kurt Smith. Leaders still have yet to pit, though. Waj, Micah, Logan, the top 3 haven't pitted. Chink, Bauer, Slug, Matt, and Connor. The entire top 8, those cars have yet to pit. Whoa, we're looking at a defensive move from Slug here, heading into turn number 7. Matt was very close. And some left side damage to Slug's car. I wonder how long he has been carrying that. Looks like a pretty huge impact. Let's see if we can get an idea of pit strategies for the field. He's looking at all 30 cars here, and when they have pitted. So the top 8, you can see they have not pit. Carr did 10 laps, and then now has done 11 laps. And you see a few of the people that have started to pit, how they're kind of spread out. What's interesting to look at here is time spent on pit lane. Carr only spent 35 seconds on pit road, compared to Jerome, who spent 37, Eric 39, Spencer 37. So you're seeing he has currently had the fastest pit stop. So of course he had that incident that hurt him after he came out of the pits. We have another driver down pit lane, and it is Matt Zepka, he has just pitted. It was an 11-second stop. He spent 36 seconds on pit road. That's a second longer than James was, but he's the fastest of the rest of the drivers who have pitted thus far. Spencer on pit road now. I believe he's had another incident. So now that Matt has come in, he is freed from being behind Slug, and I believe this is what he wants. He's going for an undercut here. It was clear he was starting to get a bit faster than Slug. It was pressuring him, couldn't get by him, so he's come down pit lane in an attempt to get some free air and set faster lap time so he can close that gap to Slug. And we'll wait to see how this works out when Slug eventually pits. McKenzie really still very close to Hendricks. He may be in a similar situation to Matt, where eventually the undercut is going to be what he attempts. He may have been fuel saving behind Hendricks here, and I think we're going to see the answer to that question in when he pits. If he waits until Hendricks pits, then he's been fuel saving. If he pits earlier, then he is going for the undercut. He may have still been fuel saving, but he would be abandoning that to just go for raw pace. Smith, oh, he's looking to the inside on Kirk Lane, and I'm not sure I've ever seen anyone peeking up the inside on that part of the track, but he almost made it work. Now Fedorowski is on pit lane, and we have only the top 7 cars who have yet to come down pit road. Almost at the 40-minute mark of this race. Connor in 7th, just 2 seconds behind Slug. Let's take another look at the pit strategies now and get those pit lane times. And you can see Zepka is still the fastest of the drivers outside of Carr. But I mean, crucially, he is behind Carr. So James has performed quite a recovery drive here. Even with the one incident he had, he is all the way back up into 8th, and he can go to the end of the race. August Blondal is the other member of the top 10 who has yet to pit. And Kirk Lane himself has not pitted. So those 2 cars and then the entire top 7, those are the drivers who have not come down pit road yet. Micah still holding off McKenzie, 0.4 of a second gap. We're on to lap 25. And August is in the pits. His Haushold Motorsport team servicing the car now. How long will he be on pit road, I wonder? Savio and Statzer will go by. Will Kurt Smith get by? Blondal is on pit exit. Here comes Smith. And it's going to be very close. It looks like August may have it. Smith is really pushing to get by him. Smacks the wall, and he's not going to be able to do it. You saw how important he knew that was. He might still get by Lane here, though, despite that. Into turn number 3, and he gets him. At the same time, Zyman going by Michael Zepp for the 22nd position. That is Zepka in front of them. Oh no, and Kotlowski is on the escape road, and that is not where you want to be. Oh, and I think he is pulling off the track to end his day here. Or he may just be using to turn around. Oh. He has found the tire barrier, and that is it for Kotlowski. Looking at David Bauer going around a lapped car here. Bauer and Schink, we're not going to be talking about them much, I think. They're running very quiet races. Slug's now in pit lane, so now here we go. On board with Matt Zepka. Slug currently on pit exit. His stop was 3 seconds slower than Matt's. Matt definitely saved more fuel. And there he goes around Slug. And Jerome's going to get by Slug. And will he hold on to... Oh, Savio's far back. So Slug is back in 10th. And he's lost some time to Jerome and Matt. Simon's going to let him go ahead and take that spot per blue flag rules. Meanwhile, Mackenzie very close to the tail end of Hendricks. Now there were 7 cars that hadn't pitted. It's the top 6 and Kirk. And now Hendricks pits. Mackenzie is freed from the tail end of the Hassel Motorsport of Veloster. And now we will see if he increases his pace. He did a 1:37.8 on that last lap. His best is a 1:37.3 in this race. Waz has been doing those low 37s still. His best is a 37.2. Last was a 37.3. Connor Acatella's on pit lane. Bauer's on pit road. Schink also on pit lane. So it's Mackenzie and Sawidovic who have saved the fuel to go just a little bit longer. And it looks like Kirk Lane has also not come onto pit road yet, though he's on the same lap as those other drivers. And let's see, Michael Hendricks is off pit road. Mackenzie going down the back stretch now. Francois off pit lane as well. And James is going to come out just behind him in 5th. Look at this. James in the top 5 despite everything that has happened. And he has had some stellar pace. His best lap not quite what Micah or Logan or Wajas are. But still, he's easily the 4th fastest car on track. And now we wait to see. Waj has, will he go by pit lane entry? Yes, he will. Will Mackenzie go by pit lane entry? They've both saved enough for 2 extra laps of racing here compared to the rest of the field. Kirk Lane has also gone at least 1 more extra lap. So these 3 cars have extended this run quite a bit. And Logan does a 1:37.4 on that lap. 0.3 faster than Waz, actually, who turned in a 37.7. And now as we look at pit strategy and pit lane time, see James still, out of everybody, has had the fastest adventure down pit road. So, is it possible these two have saved enough? Now let's check in. Have they saved enough for another lap? Carr is only 0.2 off of Schink here. This is the most action Schink has seen since lap 1. Will Carr have a run? Where are the leaders? The leaders are coming around the fountain now. Carr not close enough to do anything in turn 3 there. Mackenzie 5 seconds off of Waj. It was somewhere around 5.2 or 5.3 when he came out from behind Hendricks. So he has closed the gap just a little, but it's quite a monumental gap still. Waj is into the pits, and so is Mackenzie. So is Kirk Lane. So all 3 of them are down pit road, and these are the last takers. So here we go. How much fuel have each of them saved? Can Mackenzie gain any time? And where is Hendricks in all this? Hendricks is currently coming around the last 2 corners. He seems pretty far back to catch Mackenzie as he pulls into his pit stall. But let's see what happens. Swidovic is out of his stall. It's an 11-second stop. For Mackenzie, it's a 12-second stop. He is out. His stop was slightly faster than Micah. Here we go. Mackenzie is out, and he is almost 3 seconds ahead of Micah here. He has jumped him. Mackenzie's pit stop was 0.3 faster, and overall, he spent a full second less on pit road than Micah did. That does not account for all that gap. I believe Micah was also impeded a bit by a lapped car. So circumstances have conspired to put him 2.5 seconds behind Mackenzie with 13 minutes to go in this season opener here at Belle Isle. The closest battles on track right now. James Carr has slipped a little farther behind Shink. That's now a 7/10 gap. Then it is the battle for 8th. Acatella leads Bajulaz, who leads Slug. Those three cars all running close to each other, but maybe not close enough for one of them to make a move. Blondal trying to defend 13th from Kurt Smith. Eric Statzer is also ahead of them. There is... Statzer's 10 seconds ahead. Statzer is close to Savio, though, in the battle for 11th. That's a half-second gap. August, half-second gap. Justin Rhodes has just gone around Aaron Hall for the 18th position. And every position in... once you get past, I believe it's 5th place, every position is worth 3 points. So these are not small margins for these guys, even in the back of the field. That's a huge increase in point gain. Waj and McKenzie currently on their first full lap since coming out of the pits. And McKenzie has put another half-second between him and Hendricks. Hendricks did a 1:37.8 on that previous lap. And that is not quite close to what Waj and Logan were doing before the pits. Carr's now falling a full second behind Shink. Slug is now a half-second behind Jerome. And both of them are losing quite a bit of ground to Acatella, who seems to be solidifying that 8th place position. Zepka in 7th. He seems to be pretty solidly in that spot as well. Only 11 minutes left to go in this one, and it looks like it's going to be a lot of can these drivers bring it home. It's been a race of attrition here at Belle Isle. Some championship contenders that have been involved in incidents. John Lauzon, Justin Rhodes, James Carr. Those three guys have all run into trouble today. Whoa, that's a big moment from Zepka. He hit the tire barrier, and that suspension looks broken. Oh no, here he comes around the fountain, and Acatella is closing up on him fast, and he's gonna come down the straight. Look at the wheel. Oh, he's having to hold it so far to the left. The suspension is completely oh, you can see how far in that front left wheel is when you look from these angles. Oh yeah. Here comes Acatella. Zepka's going to pull down pit lane. But he will have already used his fast repair in the first stop, I think. So this may not do much. He may have to sit there and take some required repairs. He's going to lose quite a few positions here. He could drop all the way down to at least 15th, I think. Checking in on the back of the pack, I'd seen Darnell had some trouble. He's currently 22nd, has still gained 4 positions. Zepp has gained 6. Kirk Lane has gained 7 positions, and his fuel saving was great. Zepka is now on exit, and it appears Adrian may not get to him, and he won't. So Matt comes out in 14th. McKenzie has just set a time almost identical to his personal best. Still, he was a bit faster than Waj on that lap, but he has lost 4/10 to him overall since the pit stops. So this is very much Swiatic's race to lose. 9 minutes to go here at Belle Isle. He had a very short pit stop. Looks like he saved a great amount of fuel. He should have enough to go to the end here. Statzer is getting very close to Savio here at the end of the race. Statzer looking for that top 10. These two have traded this position a couple of times today. Now Eric is trying to put a pin in it, get it once and for all. Now Spencer Cockayne has jumped to the pits. Looks like his day may be done with another incident. That leaves 23 cars on track out of the 30-car field here today at Belle Isle. Swiatic has done the fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.05. At the same time, McKenzie has done a 1:37.197. I think that might have been the second fastest lap with Waj's new time. These two, and McKenzie's put another second between him and Hendricks. Carr has closed up his gap, however, and is now only 4/10 behind Schink. Statzer is very close to Savio. These are tight battles as we come down to the line at the end of this race. We go on board with Statzer here as he tries to wrap this one up against Savio. Like Savio's opening up that gap a little bit. Check back in on Carr. He's keeping it close to Schink, but can he close it out here in the final laps? It's going to be difficult to pass. Schink has been very consistent so far today. Waj has just broken into the 36s for the first time out of anybody. Now extends his gap to 6 seconds. Are really close, but it's you need to be within 0.2 of a second to get someone in turn 3, to have a dive that's not overly optimistic, and he just can't find that right now. Slug is in a similar situation with Jerome. He just can't get close enough. He's kind of stuck in that 6 to 7/10 range. Always you see him go over the grass there, and now Statzer's kind of getting stuck in the same position. I think this has been quite good pace from Statzer. We've seen flashes of it in the past before, but I think this is one of his more impressive performances in the Alpha Touring Challenge as they go around the lapped car, Alex Kotlowski. And I think that may have lost Statzer another 10th or 2. Carr also now hanging out the 10th range. I think this one is about wrapped up. You see, this is going to be just a matter of can people keep it out of the wall? And, you know, it may seem like a simple proposition, but with 8 minutes to go, we saw Zepka flip the wall, and that was it for his suspension. So it's still a danger. And with these street courses, we saw it with Long Beach back in Season 4. It's just about attrition. And I think I'm thankful that these Belle Isle races are not sprint challenges. And I think maybe that's a lesson to be learned from what Long Beach was. That was 3 sprint challenges and a lot of carnage. But hey, speaking of carnage, the Alpha Touring Challenge is holding a sprint challenge at Laguna Seca next week. And that is always a lot of fun, and there's always a lot of contact, very hard racing, and it would be the 6th time in 6 seasons that the league has gone there. One of only two tracks with that honor. The other will be given to Road Atlanta this season. Wojciech Suidowicz has never held the championship lead in the Alpha Touring Challenge, despite racking up several wins across 3 different seasons. He has never been seen on that top step. The participation has never been there. You know, I believe that he is racing very late at night or early in the morning, if you want to look at it that way. And so, you know, you see sporadically, you don't see him challenge for the championship. Will we see more commitment from him this season, or I mean, will we see him sacrifice more sleep this season, should I say, and make a run at the championship? If so, yeah, I think he immediately becomes the favorite. He rarely is off the pace, and though the field has definitely gotten quite close to him in the recent seasons compared to say season 3 when he first popped up. This season, there's a couple of guys that are just not too far off him. I mean, McKenzie's only been about 2 or 3 tenths off him in this race. Hendricks and Carr typically only a couple tenths off in general. So this could be a very vicious, high-speed championship fight if Waj has anything to say about it. Carr is closing that gap back up to Shink as we come down to the wire here with 3 minutes remaining. When Waj goes across the start-finish this time, it will be 2 laps to go. Slug has gotten a little bit closer to Jerome here. Not sure if he's going to be able to make some kind of move. And Aaron Hall is currently working on Simon at the end of the race here. Battle for 19th. Hall started in 14th, Simon in 16th. So these two just looking to get something out of this race. They're both still within the points. But there is, of course, an extra 3 points for whoever gets that position there. Simon currently holding on to those points. Carr still just on the tail of Shink, and I'm just not sure he's going to be able to get close enough. We haven't seen him get a good run off of turn number 2. This may be his best one. This may end up being his best chance, and it just looks like he's a bit too far back. He peeks to the right. He's trying to get Francois to maybe go deep on the brakes, but to no avail. Next time around, we will get the white flag. Waj sets another fast lap. And he is only a lap and a half away from claiming yet another win in the Alpha Touring Challenge. And he continues to cement himself as one of the Alpha Touring Challenge greats. He doesn't have the championship finishes, but you can't just look at the championship finishes. Look at his participation, and you look at his win rate. His win rate is disgustingly high. He is absolutely one of the greats in the league. And, I mean, we're watching him put on an absolute clinic today. He has been under pressure today. The gap has maybe not always been small, but there have been a couple of drivers today who have been matching his pace or being better than his pace at certain points. And so by no means was this as stress-free as some of his other wins. He can wrap this one up. We do have the white flag out on track now. This will be Waj's final lap around the circuit. His gap to McKenzie is almost 7 seconds now. It doesn't look like Carr is going to get Shink. It doesn't look like Slug is going to get Bajulaz. Doesn't look like Hall is going to get Simon. Justin Rhodes is back down pit road. Not sure for what, but that he's going to concede a couple more positions off that. Waj into turn number 7 for the final time. And this will also, I believe, Waj, since the release of the Elantra and the Veloster and the Civic, the only driver to log any wins with the Audi has been Waj. And it's not hard to see why. He comes around the final corner here at Belle Isle, and Wojciech Suwidowicz is going to win in Detroit. The season opener, season 6, goes to the number 80, and what a fine win it was. McKenzie back on pace after a dreadful season 5. He comes home second, and Hendricks will bring home the final podium position. Shink is going to just hold on over Carr. Carr really pushing out that final corner, and he absolutely obliterates the final wall. He's going to end up rounding out the top 5, and he is the first breakfast for dinner driver to finish. And now we have David Bauer coming over the line in 6th position. A pretty boring race for Bauer, I think. He was alone for most of that one. He comes across in 6th. Behind him, Acatella for Yellow Flag Motorsports. Then it's Bojulaz for Beaver Buzz. Then it's Slug for Yellow Flag. The entire Yellow Flag Motorsport team finishing within the top 10. A good showing for them. It's going to be Dom Savio closing out the top 10. He ended up being 3 seconds ahead of Statzer in the end, who comes home 11th, and that is one of his best career finishes in the Alpha Touring Challenge. He's got to be proud of that one. Same for August, a great finish for him. He comes home 12th. Then it's Kurt Smith. In his return to the Alpha Touring Challenge, he gains 6 positions from start and finishes 13th. Zepka, a bit of a disappointment, loses 8 positions today, still brings home a 14th place finish. Then it's Fedorowski in 15th. And that is it. Those are the last cars on track. So now let's take a look at your race results for the first round of Season 6 at Belle Isle. Waj brings home the victory, 6.9 almost second gap to McKenzie. Then it goes Hendricks on podium. He is the highest finishing Hassel Motorsport driver. Then Schink representing Beaver Buzz in 4th. Breakfast for Dinner is 5th and 6th with Carr and Bauer. Then it's Acatella, Bajulaz, Slug, Savio. That's your top 10. Statzer, Blondal, Smith, Zepka, Fedorowski, Lane, Roma, Simon. Then moving down the order, Rhodes in 19th, Hall 20th, Zepp, Katlowski, 2 QZ Motorsports drivers in 21st and 22nd. And it's Darnell in 23rd, and then it's Spencer and Samuel. And those are the 5. So from 21st to 25th, those 5 drivers get the minimum 3 points because they completed half of the laps in the race. At the bottom of the field, Winfelt, Sedano, Lauzon, Dan, and Crawford round out your field. An incredible win for Waj today. He cleaned up here at Belle Isle. Let's take a look at where the championship standings are after one round of Alpha Touring action.